Hold up. If you wanna go and take a ride with me, better hit me, baby, one more time.
More variety than you can imagine. Relaks Radio.
Welcome back to Relaks Radio with me, Nick, and we got Kingsley in the building. DJ Kingz, what's happening? What's good? How you been?
I've been pretty good, actually. The weekend was pretty nice. It was, I say nice, and it was really rainy, but you know, on the upside, it's been pretty good at home. You know, I feel great.
Yeah, so. Some of us will need to take boats to travel. The way it's looking so far, the weather is crazy. The weather is I don't really get it. I mean, do you remember that period? We had that small period in time where it was super, super warm. It was so difficult to go outside, and now it's just raining.
Like rain constantly. Like, I think maybe the past 2 days or so, we've dealt with torrential rain. Then out comes the sun. And it's like, oh, okay, no more rain. And then all of a sudden, grey clouds come back in again. It starts raining. So now it's like, what do you want to be? Do you want to rain or do you want sun? Like, pick one.
I mean, sending mixed signals right there, you know?
Yeah, like, I don't get it. I just don't get it.
I think right now, the way the weather is going, I mean, the UK lived up to its reputation of doom and gloom when it comes to the weather. I mean, for one moment, I thought, okay, it's getting really hot. It's getting really warm. I'm sweating outside every day now. I'm getting annoyed. Boom, comes the rain, and now again I'm annoyed.
It's like it's not just the UK, but it's also the people, because we don't. It's like we complain about being too hot. It's hot, and it's like, oh, we're too hot. Yeah. Then it's raining. Like, bring the sun back. Well, why we didn't want rain? Like, come on, bring something. And then when it's too cold, it's like, oh, it's so cold. I wish it was hot. And it's hot. Oh, it's too hot. I need to be cooler again. You know, we can't pick. It's kind of hard. Like, we're hard people to please.
But anyways, with that said, we're going to be diving into a lot of things going on in the UK. And one of the things I want to talk about, though, is the medical insurance.
Yes.
You know about that topic? I don't know if you the point is essentially the question I want to ask, right, is when is it going to be the point when it becomes a problem to society? I mean, this medical insurance, private medical insurance, think about it like this. I'll give you an instant, Kingz, so you can understand what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah.
What if you or me, okay, let's say me, okay, I'm a patient, and let's say I'm in the backlog of these surgeries, right? I've not gotten my surgery, nothing like that. And I'm at that point where, you know, the guy in front of me. So let's say I've been waiting for a year, and another guy is like, let's say I've been waiting for a year and a day. And then there's another guy in front of me, right? He's a year. He's been waiting for a year. But now what he's going to do is he's going to take his private money. Okay, if he has insurance that will cover it, he'll go to this private medical and health insurance, and he'll get his vaccine, right? And he'll get all of these operations or whatever. I get to get pushed to the list. Do you think that's a good thing, though?
What, that he just takes his private money to go and pay for his own vaccine. Meanwhile, all you do is just get pushed up the list.
Yeah.
Well, in my honest opinion, I don't know. The thing is, when I look at it like that, I feel like something like that can be done. If you have the funds to be able to afford it, then, you know, why not? It saves people having to wait, you know?
Think about it like this, Kingz. What if you have a problem? I mean, you're obviously going to scrape the money somehow. You're going to do that surgery, whatever it is.
Yeah, that is true.
Whether it's for you or your wife or your child. I don't know, suppose you're married, but you know what I'm trying to get at, right?
Yeah, I completely understand, yeah.
So my question is when does it, in that point, become a problem to society?
That people could just buy their way forward. I mean, to be honest.
I mean, if I was that guy, I'd encourage the guy in front of me and be like, hey, go get that insurance.
Yeah, like, in the event where it's me sat there behind the individual, I said, listen, do what you got to do. But then at the same time, if we think on the grand scheme of things, like look at it on the grand scale, like we involve everybody. Right. It does affect society, mainly because of the fact that nobody is minted, or, you know, not everyone is well off. Like, not everyone has a mortgage, or, you know, lives by themselves, or can afford huge amounts of, you know, luxury items, or can afford things like private healthcare. Whereas, because the grand majority will have to rely on they'll have to rely on government payments. They'd have to rely on, you know, the NHS getting free healthcare in that way, which means that they also have to follow protocol the same, just like everybody else that follows the exact same guidelines. Whenever it comes to free healthcare, they have to follow the waiting period. everything that comes along with that free healthcare, because at the end of the day, you are essentially getting it for free. You aren't it's being paid for, but you know, it's not coming straight out of your way. You don't have to go and directly pay it. Do you understand what I mean? So the thing is it will affect society in a way where people who can actually afford to pay this private healthcare, even though yes, we understand everybody needs healthcare. Yeah. The people that can actually afford to pay for it and they put it forward and then they get seen straight away, it will affect them, because then it kind of takes away the amount of what I think is that it will take away the amount of doctors or nurses or whatever. Like, it takes away the amount of services that can be given to the grand public. Do you know what I mean? And because there's actually quite a lot of people that can actually afford this, surprisingly enough.
I mean, Kingz, listen, you got 10,000 pounds in your pocket right now, and you can just do that, you know, knee surgery or hip replacement or whatever, or cataract surgery, whatever. You have 10,000 pounds in your hand. You can afford it.
Yeah, straight up. And the thing is, if it was me in that position where I know I have the money to afford it, I would pay up straight away, because I'm not trying to feel like that anymore. Sorry to the grand public. But, you know, I come first. I'm not going to, as selfish as it sounds, I can't cater for the rest of the world. You know, I'm just one individual and I can only take care of myself, because I wouldn't expect the whole world to take care of me. Do you know what I mean?
Again, like, Kingz, in that thought, you know, train of thought, a lot of people think like that, right? A lot of people also think like that. So that adds up, but that's beside the point. The point, what I'm trying to make is privatization of this medical, you know, it's going to be unfair. Don't you think it's going to be unfair where you can afford to buy medicine? So you want to live 5 years longer? Well, you have the money. I don't.
Yeah, no. Of course, that's completely. Yes, that is definitely completely unfair. So now I'm like that. Yeah, I'm on the same page. I'm on the same page with you right now. Yeah, it's a very big issue, mainly because of the fact that. Okay, so now we take away free healthcare completely. That's basically it. We remove free healthcare completely because of the privatization of medical services. Not everyone can afford to pay for medical fees, you know? Yeah. Like, credit to the people that have been doing it in other countries like America or Europe or whatever, you know, credit to them or however they've managed, but not everybody in the UK can afford it. Like, we've seen there's you know, a lot of people live in council buildings. A lot of people have to rely on the government financially because they can't actually get jobs. Yeah, so if you're going to prioritize healthcare, that just, it's not going to work. Like, I feel as though we may, and I'm not saying this in terms of, I'm not saying this to even, not necessarily be spiteful, but I'm not saying this in terms of trying to look at it from a negative standpoint, but there could be a possible case in like a rise of deaths because of the fact that healthcare has been privatized, you know, because not everyone has access to it. So that's what I think.
Isn't it, that's in the end, isn't it like, you know, isn't it becoming like a societal problem is the thing when it becomes privatized like this. So you get better healthcare, you get to live longer because I can't afford, because look, not everyone can afford that.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, not everyone can afford that. And, you know, I mean, this is just this is the big problem for me. I mean, are you making it privatizing, you know, healthcare, one of our fundamental rights? I'm not saying, okay, if you have the money, don't go do it. I'm telling you, you go do it. I'm going to push you for it. If I don't got the money, I'll push you for it. I'm like, hey, you go get it because I get to move up the list.
Yeah, exactly. So, people, it's like a waiting list as well.
I know.
No. That would be, that wouldn't work. I see.
We will definitely be talking about this as we go along in the show. Make sure you guys keep it locked right here on Relaks Radio. If you want to be part of the show, well, it's pretty simple. 07852-473-473. That's right.
The valuations that you place on an asset are always behind you. It's always in hindsight. It's never in front of you. And that's one of the challenges, right? Because you're always valuing what happened yesterday. And what you need is what's going to happen tomorrow. What am I saving or investing for? Why am I doing it? When will I need the money? And how much money do I need? Yeah. So that's quite important, because when you're looking at your net worth, you got to start with saying, well, what do I want my net worth to be? So that there's a goal. And then work backwards. How do I get there? And if I can start with £50 or $50 a week, if I save that every week, and you can go online and use calculators online. I don't have to teach you the maths behind it, but you can say, okay, and if I get a 3% return and I put this away for how long will it take to reach my goal? And that's called just this basic cash flow projection calculations. And it's what we use in financial planning all the time. What we say to clients is we say, okay, what is your goal? What is your objective? Where do you want to go to? And we discuss that in a lot of detail and over most of the meeting. And then the rest of it is saying, okay, in your exact circumstances, with your risk profile, with how you feel about investments and pensions and taxes and where you are and who you work with, and your education level or your lack of education or how involved you want to be. There's a lot of variables that we take into account, and then we say, okay, here's a plan. You start like this, that's great. And then we review it all the time. And we say, okay, we need to increase it, we're on track, we're not, this is what is happening. Because remember, when you're dealing with assets, the valuations that you place on an asset are always behind you. It's always in hindsight. It's never in front of you. And that's one of the challenges, right? Because you're always valuing what happened yesterday. And what you need is what's going to happen tomorrow. So that's a struggle. Yeah. So there are strategies everywhere from £50 a week up to £100 million, and they're different, right? They range differently from everyone, but and from country to country, to be fair. Different countries have different tax laws, so different vehicles. But from your point of view, at the sort of normal end, I'm not going to call it the low end because I'm in that boat as well. It's as tax efficient as you can get it. That's where you start. You use all the tax efficiencies, and then you step up into different things.
Come and listen on
Don't be afraid to catch fish.
Relaks Radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it right there. That was Relaks Radio. You are currently tuned into Real Talk, which goes on from 3 to 6 every single day from Monday to Friday.
That's right.
Just before the break, we was just getting into some conversation about medical insurance and when will it actually be enough, and the privatization of healthcare. So go on ahead, Nick. I feel like you should take over.
Look, I'm telling you right now, right? When it comes to privatization of healthcare, how problematic it's gonna be. Because look, I'm gonna be in a waiting list, and I'm gonna be. This is the thing, Kingz. I'm gonna be in a waiting list.
Yeah, like that in itself is pretty insane. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and you have the money to go and get a surgery. If you have a heart surgery or rotaract, I'm not telling you not to do it. But my question is it, when is it going to be a problem to society? How is it going to be a problem like this? Because look at the way it is going. Like at this point, okay, fine. But what in the future, if you want to live, like I said, if you want to live, you will have to have the money to live. I mean, that's really sad.
Only the rich will survive. That's what it literally sounds like. Only the rich will survive.
Exactly, right? I mean, somebody will say, oh, no, this is some, this guy's talking about some conspiracy theory or something. But no, when you look at it, really, it does sound like the rich get to live longer than the average person. And I consider myself a middle person, like a very average person.
Yeah, and it's sad because it's like people that don't live off, people that aren't brought up in families that have boatloads of cash everywhere, or, that have come from generational wealth, or even
generational wealth.
Yes, or even just got lucky and hit the lottery. Like, not everyone. You're not gonna find a millionaire every single day, but there is for sure as hell a lot of them popping up.
Oh yeah.
Every month. Like, I don't know why, but there is quite a lot of them popping up every month. You're not gonna see many people like that just flip out 10 grand and say, yeah, I'll pay for my healthcare immediately, because not everyone can afford it. Privatizing healthcare, especially for the type of society we live in, will not work, because what will happen is that I feel the population will start to decrease. Whether it's because people start to migrate to other countries or it's because people are dying. Because, no one can afford it. And with that waiting list as well, it's all in the sense of whoever can afford it will be able to go and people get moved up the list. Or it's because people start to pass away and, that list slowly gets shorter and shorter because,
but
people can't afford it.
But this is the thing. Again, Kingz, this is the thing, right? I am moving up in the list. It's a good thing.
It is.
In a way, it's a good thing. If you really look into that, I feel like this is a paradox. Like, it's a good thing you're doing it, but at the same time, at what point is it going to be a bad thing?
Yeah. The thing is,
I know that's a lot.
The thing is, when you say at what point, I don't even think there's even a point. I feel as though it's already bad. Like, just the idea itself. And, I feel as though not many people will be able to look into it into as much detail as the way I am with you right now, because obviously it is currently that is the point of the topic that we're thinking of. Yeah. But sure, with the immediate announcement of privatization of healthcare, like, you don't think of it as something major, except for the fact that healthcare will no longer be free. You don't think about how it's going to have long-lasting damage later on. Your kids may be affected. Imagine, because remember, one thing that children always start off with whenever they're young is chickenpox.
Of course.
We're taken care of because of the fact that, maybe we have to just take some medicine. Yeah, you become immune to it. Either you have to take medicine or maybe you have to just like take some sort of special cream. You get that for free as a child. Once medication and all types of healthcare becomes privatized, you're paying for everything. You have to pay for everything. So if you've got chickenpox and you have to pay and you can't afford it, the child is just going to have to manage, That's sad.
A terrible point. Yeah, it is sad.
It's sad.
I get other countries, all right? And this is the thing. I get other countries that don't do well off or something like that. Okay, fine. Yeah. That they need it for the economy or whatever. But the UK, in the future, I'm telling you, in the future right now, there will be that point where everything will be privatized. Again, it's when you think about privatization, right? We're talking about, let's say, for instance, you have a kid, you'd rather send your kid to a private school than to a community school or a government school because, again, quality, you want the quality of the education, right? You're not talking about, just sending them to school or anything like that. It's about the quality. And, where money is involved, it's always going to be quality healthcare, even healthcare.
Yeah. Okay. So now, here's my question for you. When we put into perspective of privatizing healthcare, or not even healthcare, privatization just as a general point, as you said, to quote you, it is to you think about the quality of what it is that you're getting. So sending your children to private school or private this, private that, it's because of the quality. You don't want to send them to community school because there is the stereotype that it's not as good as private. You want things to be private because you want that quality, you're going to get the good top teachers or whatever, there's that speculation. Now, if we put this into terms of healthcare, how do you feel that could be the same if all healthcare will be privatized when this is the same healthcare that everybody has been using? If you privatize that, how does that make the quality any better than what it used to be? That's my question.
That's interesting because right now, first off, to answer that, there's a very manifolded question right there. You asked me a really tough one right there. Because at the end of the day, right, I feel like people will be in that mindset right now. We're at that point where, yes, privatization of healthcare is happening. And, we can see it's happening. And people believe they're in that preconception that, privatize is going to be better than hey, healthcare is better. This is better. And the other thing, the reason privatize, look, this is the thing. If we were completely privatized, we wouldn't have a waiting list.
But
we wouldn't have a big waiting list like this. I mean, come on, Kingz, you tell me. Would we have had a big waiting list like this?
We wouldn't. But then at the same time, at what cost would us losing that waiting list, at what cost would that come with? Like the cost of people's lives, the cost of people's, livelihoods. Some families wouldn't even be able to hold up. Like some families would probably disintegrate because there would be no waiting list. They can't afford it. And, some of them will just end up, just falling short like the rest. So at what cost?
That's what they'll do. Yeah, exactly. That's the point. This is why privatization, at what point does it become a problem is what we are talking about here, And we'll be talking about this and a whole lot more as we go along in this show. But if you want to be part of it, all you got to do, call us up, 078-52-473-473. That's right. We're going to be taking a real quick break, but we will be right back after this, taking a look at your time. It is 5:22. Good evening.
Again. But now, if you say to a child, if I went up to a child and said, you've had one to forget, God, there'd be an inquest. Me, why did you reject my son? Oh, I haven't rejected your son.
I want to talk about, how the generation gap, how much has changed, especially when you check the youth nowadays in comparison, to people back in the day.
I'd say when I was younger, it was more disciplined. Not now.
In comparison to now.
Not at all. Not now. The way things are nowadays, the younger generation, you seem that they can't accept the word no. If that makes sense. They can't
accept rejection, essentially, is all you're trying to say.
Yeah, they can't accept the word no. So if you, how did I do? Or you didn't do very well. And they get upset. And when I was a youngster, my father used to say to me, because I used to be sport mad when I was very young. Well, I still am sport mad, but like participating in different sports. And if I had a bad game, for example, he'd say to me, you had one to forget.
That's it. Your dad sounds like a smart guy. I mean, yeah, that's the real fact of the matter, yeah.
He'd say to me, you had one to forget. Get over it. And that was it. So I dust myself down and do it again. But now, if you say to a child, if I went up to a child and said, you've had one to forget, God, there'd be an inquest. Me, why did you reject my son? Oh, I haven't rejected your son. Or daughter. I've just told them that they need to buck their ideas up.
That's the truth right there. I mean, if you think about it, if you check the generations, like right now in the US as well, I've seen a lot of these things as well. In the UK, you get medals for participation. But what's the point? What are you trying to? Yeah, what's the point? Either you win or you lose. People are so afraid to put that whole notion of losing. When it comes to right now, the generation gap is just crazy. How much. A lot has changed. Social media has taken control of our lives, and we don't even realize it anymore. We're crippled because of it.
That's absolutely right, Nick. Because, as you said, nowadays it seems that you get rewarded for failure. For the life of me, Nick, I can't get my head around that. Perhaps I'm just getting old and morbid. I don't know. I just can't get my head around how you could be rewarded for failure.
Variety is the spice of our station. Relax Radio.
Welcome back to Relaks Radio. That's right, RELAKS with me, Nick, and we got Kingz on board the show, where we're trying to keep it light, but at the same time, we got to talk about real things going on. And speaking of real things, I like the shirt. I dig the shirt.
Thank you very much. Sometimes you just gotta feel like you're zero gravity,
I mean, yeah, it's been a crazy week, especially when it comes to the space projects in the UK, right? Space in the UK. Well, there's a lot going on. Apparently, the UK is building a satellite center. Especially a space center in space. And the reason is because they want to track down what the Russians and the Chinese are doing.
Yeah, I think if I am correct, please do correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe I heard something about they are also, maybe there could be a possibility that they may be under attack by Russia and China in space. So I don't know if there's some sort of intergalactic battle going on that we're unaware of, but
again, it's it's humorous. I mean, it's funny to think, we have a lot of things that we are concerned. So the UK's reply to this is we are trying to protect our national interest.
See, now
In space, again, I quote, in space, we have, listen to this, Kings. We have issues like furlough. We have a Brexit. We have the COVID situation. We have, foreign aid problems, immigrants coming in and out of the country. I mean, we have a lot of these important things going on. And all of a sudden, space.
Space. How do we, okay.
I blame Richard Branson. I'm telling you, I blame Richard Branson. Ever since he started flying into space and messing around, the UK has been taking an active watch. They're like, okay, people are flying in space. We got to see what's happening there.
I mean, okay, Nick, you're going to need to help me understand this here because I'm so confused. Like you've just mentioned all of the problems that we've got with the UK right now. Yeah. All our issues laid out flat onto paper.
Yeah.
We got the population is growing with everybody migrating over here. We've got furlough issues and people aren't being paid. I mean, for goodness sake, we've also got the privatization of healthcare going on. But for some reason, we have got beef up in space with two other countries to protect our national interest. Again,
that too with China and Russia. I always feel like we're in some kind of Hollywood movie. Every time, it's always them. Whenever I open the television, Iran, Russia, China. The Chinese diplomat, the Russian diplomat, Vladimir Putin. Every time I hear, it's like they are the opposing team. It's crazy because right now they're saying what they say, okay, is China and Russia have built this anti-missile, that can actually destroy satellites and all of these anti-satellite missiles in space. So what the UK wants to do right now, okay, the funny thing, they want to build a space center rather. They have a space center right now, and they want that to track these activities. So, and the UK says, I quote, Boris Johnson said all of these things, and he said, okay, we're not going to be, manufacturing weapons or anything like they do. We're just going to track this. So then after that, what? I mean... After China or let's say Russia does something to off or upset the UK, after that what? You tell me, King.
To be honest, if I'm honest, you and I both know it's never just gonna be, we're just gonna track this and see what happens. We know it's not just gonna be that. Because I feel like maybe by the next month we're gonna hear something about the UK has formulated either weapons or is prepared to go and send troops in a spaceship to go and check out what's going on with the satellite. Now, all of a sudden, we have got not just battle on land, but in zero gravity. Now, and at that point, I'll just ask, what is wrong with the world? Because I don't know anymore. It's like I'll be so, I wouldn't even say steps ahead. It's like I'll be so on track with everything, keeping up with everything. Then all of a sudden, we have a battle in space. How did we get up there?
Light years ahead of the rest of the world. I'm telling you, I do not.
The funny thing is I thought that whenever it comes to technology, like I know that Japan and China are so far ahead whenever it comes to technology in comparison to the rest of the world, but fighting in space. Someone's got to help me.
I'm telling you, Richard Branson did something. A lot of us, I'm blaming that guy. I'm telling you, I wouldn't be surprised if in the next couple of decades, and I hope to live it to that decade, where we will see an actual, space battle where there's lightsabers and all of that. I'm telling you, that's going to happen the way it's going right now.
Do you know what? Within those next few decades, I hope I'm retired so that I could just enjoy it from the comfort of my own home because I have no plan of going to work or trying to run from anything. I just want to see it unfold from my living room and have my feet up on my deck chair with a nice drink. And say, yep, the world has really done it now.
Again, it's funny. I really, it bothers me a lot that the UK, I am clicking my tongue because I'm bothered by it. The UK is bothered about Russia and China in space. Oh, Russians and Chinese are in space. We have to look and see what they're doing. Okay. Oh, if they retaliate, this is the funny thing. They say, okay, Boris Johnson said, we are not going to make any sort of weapons, nothing of that sort. We're just going to be tracking them. So what if they do something? And then what? I mean, then what?
they're bound to retaliate. If you're there just stalking them, I don't know. Like, what did you expect? You know, some things, I guess, how do I put it? Maybe some things don't need to be known, but then at the same time, not everybody wants to be in that. No, not everybody wants to be in the wind with information, especially like when it comes down to China. I speak a lot with Tim on this on the Buzz. Ladies and gentlemen, you should tune in every single day, Monday to Friday, from 12 to 3. Tim and myself, we always talk about everything technology, finance, business, and entrepreneurship. So make sure you stay tuned for that. But nonetheless, that was quick. So just quick promo. I want to quickly just.
Shout out to my boy Tim if you're listening in.
Of course, man. Of course, I gotta make sure. Just a quick promo, shameless promo. But nonetheless, everything. Some things that we speak about on that show, we always China has always been a point of conversation that has come up a lot in the past 2 weeks. And it's like, China has been involved in this, China's been involved in that, China's been involved in this. And now we hear China again with battle in space. Exactly, in space. So now it just leads us to think, China, what are you plotting? You know? Like, as much as I want to say Boris Johnson's being nosy, it's like, but he's got a point, because China, what are you plotting here? First, you know, you're snooping behind, like, you know, you've broken violations of protocols and, you know, illegal data sharing, like illegal sharing of personal data of individuals. Then now we've got Facebook saying Facebook and Google and also everyone else saying we're going to completely like disband our agreement if you continue to, you know, misuse people's personal data. Now we've got this.
Again, I feel like I don't know if you remember the whole TikTok situation as well, where there's like, China is getting our information with TikTok videos and all of that XYZ, and they banned TikTok actually for some time. I think they banned it in America. I believe America. It was in America. Yeah, it was in America, and that was crazy. I mean, I really don't understand. Look, so it's okay for me. The real thing is, it's okay if Facebook does it, if Google does it, YouTube or whatever social media, Instagram, whatever social media does it. But if TikTok does it or some Chinese app does it, it's not okay.
Double standards. That's
double standards.
Double standards.
Right? It's double standards.
And the worst part is the fact that I feel as though I can't even say it's accepted, because it shouldn't be accepted and it shouldn't be allowed at all. But because of the fact that we currently sit on UK soil, and the world already knows what goes on over here. Like, you know, we're not really quiet. I'm not going to say we're not really quiet about it, but it's like it pretty much gets exposed on its own, if you know what I mean. I can't say it's more accepted, but then it's like if you hear the UK is doing it, it's going to make its news all the way around the world.
Oh, definitely.
And then, you know, eventually will get shut down.
I know.
You know what I mean?
It's like, they're throwing bait there. They're like, it's like, imagine you put a piece of meat in the water with a bunch of fish there. That is what China and Russia are right now in that water. America will come in. The European Union will come in. Every other country in the world will start coming in, and that's it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Look at the problems, okay? One of that. Look, Iran. I don't know if you've noticed the news. You've read the news about Iran. They had a fighter ship and they've attacked, you know, a boat rather. It's called the Mercer Street boat. Okay, the ship. So that ship got attacked. And right now they're pointing fingers at Iran. I'm talking about, you know, I'm not talking about India. Sorry, not India. I mean, China and Russia. Where did I go with India? Anyways, yes. Again, going back to the topic, right? The thing is, Iran right now have taken off all of their diplomats in the UK. I know maybe you've not heard this, but all of the UK diplomats in Iran have come back to the UK.
See, so I've literally just got the article. Yeah, like I've literally gotten the article. I have the article over here just to see about it. Yeah. So they've taken all the diplomats and everyone and brought them to the UK. More population rise. Another problem that the UK will have to be facing. Yet for some reason our attention is focused outside of the ozone layer. And I have no idea why.
Far away.
Yes. Focused on the moon or possibly Mars at this point. Like sometimes I don't know. There's just so much that goes on this in the UK. It's like you can't keep up with everything. It's like your head will just be here, there, and everywhere. And then once you hear the news, and you just think, how did we even get here? You know, like how?
I
But
think
not
the UK. I mean, look, yes, they want to track and all of that. Fine, forget about that. But you see, a lot of that money also, it could go for a lot of the problems that we have right now. You see, nurses are having problems. There's so many
Yep.
multitudes of
Yep.
problems. Why are we not putting a step? Why are we
There
putting
we
our
go.
finger into something else that we don't really need to at this time?
There we go. See, our focus is there. We go. Our focus is on outer space. Meanwhile, all the money used to be able to manufacture, like you have mentioned, all the money that is being used to be able to manufacture all of this, not even weaponry, but the technology, all the materials that are being used to be able to create these machines to go and what's the word? Not what's the word? Monitor. Like monitor. Like that's the I'd say the technological word they want to use to say we're spying on you, pretty much.
Again.
But monitor, they want to monitor China and Russia. Meanwhile, all of that money could have been used to increase the pay of nurses that have literally just been like fighting on the front lines when this COVID situation was literally at its peak. Pay them properly rather than paying them pennies. Or giving them claps. Like I don't know what are claps gonna do.
Kingz.
Claps won't help.
Listen, this is the thing. You imagine, right? They were offered just 1% of a rise. And then that was the initial offer. So now look, we're investing on all of this and we want to monitor what's happening out of our ozone. Okay, we want to do all this. And it's not like China or Russia did anything so far. Maybe they might be testing, maybe they're not. Okay, that's we don't know what's going on. But the thing is, right now, we have these problems where, the country is under different sort of pressure. You are going and looking for more trouble, going to space and trying to pick a fight in space. I feel like we're children. I feel like the people who are running the government are a bunch of children.
Honestly, I couldn't agree more because it's like, goodness me, with all of the issues you have here, your focus is going somewhere else, further away from your problems that are currently growing. And you want to go and start another problem elsewhere that may or may not come back and bite you in the behind. Honestly, I don't even want to be a part of that problem. Like, I'm just a humble individual just living and breathing the same oxygen that everyone else breathes. I don't want to have to end up wearing a space helmet for like the rest of my life or something.
I mean, it could be a movie, like a Will Smith movie or something. Oh my God, I don't even want to start with that.
That's not. Please don't. Please don't. One thing I would like to point out actually was with all of these with all of the money. In fact, yes, I wanted to quickly reroute it back to our first topic, which was talking about the privatization of healthcare. Seeing as I actually did bring up this talk about nurses and their pay. Now, the privatization of the NHS or healthcare in general, but privatization of the NHS is what's going to happen. You see that as being a benefit I think that's a benefit for the nurses that are working. Do you feel that they're going to get more money from this because healthcare has now been privatized?
Oh, definitely. They'll definitely get some money. They'll definitely get a better package than what they're getting right now, because that's what they do, when it comes to privatizing. So let's say these hospitals that are private hospitals, again, I'm not talking about doctors, okay? Because doctors, you can always channel doctors and all of that. So forget about doctors. I'm talking about individuals in essence, like, nurses and stuff like that. They will obviously move to a better option because, look, we're anyway going to work the same number of hours. We're just going to get paid better. So why not work for these privatized companies?
Yeah, I mean, 100%. Yeah, I completely understand that. So were you going to say something? I think I got you off just there.
No, it's okay. I was just going to say, in that spectrum, if you look, yes, there's going to be good, there's going to be bad.
Yeah.
But when is it going to be enough? I mean, if you're talking about that point, when is it going to be enough, privatizing, because we've reaching that stretch. We are reaching that stretch. And, like I said, we have these preconceived notions that privatizing means better education for some reason.
Yeah.
I'm talking about better services. Yes, you jump the line. And that's what a lot of people think, if they have the money, not like all of us do, but then again, getting back to that point, it's just that. So it's just it's crazy stuff right there.
Because, like, if I'm honest, and because if I'm honest, I know there are people, I'm not going to say that I know them personally, but I know that you can definitely get an individual who has gone to a community school or public school, and he could definitely turn out way smarter, or probably become way better than somebody that went to a private school. Because at the end of the day, just because you go to a private school and just because another individual's gone to a public school, what method could they teach you that is different from, like you'll learn from the teacher that you, how do I put this? In the private school, the teacher could tell you 1 + 1 is 2, and that person could be paid like however much a month.
All right.
The same, you could get a exact same type of equation, exact same type of person teach you the exact same type of stuff in a public school, and you'll both get to the same answer. Only difference is just the services. Like you're paying for somebody that's high end, but realistically, what matters is the knowledge you retain, and what matters is how well you're able to perform whenever you how good your memory is. Because realistically, if we put it into perspective, being in school is pretty much like a whole memory game. You're basically being tested. You go through the whole year, and then at the end of the year, you're tested on how much you can remember in one exam. But that exam doesn't define you. Do you know what I mean?
That is the facts right there. But then again, you're talking about that. I mean, that's an interesting point. You're definitely talking about that.
I did sway off a bit.
I have my point of view here, right? When I say yes, maybe you are paying and you're saying it's about the mind game. But children even tend to work even more harder if it's private school because they know money is involved.
Yeah, exactly. Right? There's a lot more pressure on them. Yeah, there's a lot more pressure.
Exactly. There's more pressure, and it's because of that they will work their butts off. They will be studying harder. So again, when it comes down to medicine and privatization of medicine, for me, I feel like that should. I really don't know if it should go away completely. We need it. Because I really feel like we need it, but at the same time, I don't want it to spread to that point where everyone will need to pay for medicine, and that's going to be expensive because it's out of pocket. Insurances are the most expensive thing ever. So
indeed, yeah, like it gets taken out of your salary every month, and then on top of that, I don't know if you're trying to get really good insurance, you're going to pay a pretty penny for it. So.
Exactly, and that's not a lot of people. Not a lot of people can afford that. But hey, with that being said, we will be talking about a whole lot more things as we go along in the show. So keep a lock right here, and we're gonna be taking a real quick break and taking a look at your time right now. It is 5:45. Good evening.
And listen on.
Don't be afraid to catch fish.
Relax Radio.
Hey, welcome back to Relaks Radio, RELAKS. That's right, where we're trying to relax, but also at the same time, we are talking about the real things that is going on in the UK. There's a lot of important things happening. And we were talking about, spaceships and satellites and all those sorts of things going on. And right now, we're discussing about all these things. And yes, again, I say all these things, the problems that we have, the UK should be handling what's happening here at the moment.
Yeah, literally.
Look, for one, the borders have finally opened. Yeah. So people from the United States, from Europe can finally come back. And there's a lot of people that came back in. But is it a good time to be coming back?
I mean, the thing is, with the amount of pings that we've gotten for COVID cases, as you know, we did speak about this last week. The pings, we got about
talking back on the pings.
Yes, we are. And we had about 70,000. It hit a new record. I don't know. We have borders which have just opened, even though, we are still... COVID hasn't gone away just because they removed all of the, the sanctions or the restrictions on 2 meters and wearing masks. Doesn't mean COVID has disappeared. Nope, it's still very much alive and well. We haven't eradicated it.
That is true.
I mean, all of these things are still here, and for some reason, it seems like people have forgotten, or it seems like not even forgotten. It seems as though people think that just because that these restrictions have been eased or just completely been abolished, that our problem has all of a sudden disappeared. Like, no, it's still very much alive and well. So, I don't know about you, but I'm still going to be leaving the house with a mask on. So,
I mean, that's the smartest thing to do. Why is it so difficult? You tell me, why is it so difficult? Are you carrying a child? If you're carrying a child all day in your arms, I'd understand. You're going to get tired. You're going to get fatigued. But
yeah, of
wearing
course.
a mask, come on.
It doesn't take much, really. Like, sometimes, you want to put it down and get some air, put it back up. It's completely up to you. I can understand, yes, it can be tedious to wear it for lengthy periods of time, but it's either that or you deal with the consequences of either potentially, catching the virus and dealing with all of these symptoms. And I can assure you, they are not nice. Because, like, I can tell you one thing for sure is that some people may not have it as bad as others, but the people that have it bad, like, just consider yourself lucky if you are still alive and kicking, because some people have died from this, Like, those symptoms are not pretty. They are not pretty at all.
I had something I wanted to say really right now, but then it's going to be too morbid, so I just kept my silence there. But,
if that's the case, cool.
But look, yes, that's true. There's a lot of people infected, and I feel like we are risking. We're risking, first of all, we're bringing people from out of these countries. I understand 1.5 years. I mean, imagine this, right? You got family maybe in the States or in Brazil or in Russia or what? Not Russia, but yeah. Okay, let's say, right now, the way the situation is with Russia, I don't want to say Russia or China.
Yes.
But let's say you are in any of these countries, right? I understand 1.5 years you've not seen your family. It's going to be depressing. You will want to go and see them.
Yeah, exactly. I completely understand that. Like, some people get homesick, some people just, I get it. I completely understand it. But at the same time, it's like, think about what type of favor you're doing for them if you keep them at a distance and you protect yourselves. Because not only are you just protecting yourself, you're also protecting them. They stay safe, you stay safe, everybody wins, everybody lives alive and well and happy,
Sounds like a song right there.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. For a moment, I thought about it. I was thinking,
isn't that like a song in some cartoon, child song or something? The world.
Maybe.
Yes. So positive.
maybe. But no, like, still, like, touching back on that point, it's just, I feel like just people gotta make better decisions, really. Like,
they have to.
Opening the borders up, I'm not so sure. Like, honestly, I'm not so sure.
Yeah, well, let's see how it goes. I mean, this is the problem. The problem is, Boris Johnson, like, my problem. I'm literally face palming. I'm like, listen to this man, okay? Boris Johnson says, we advise caution when coming into the country. We don't want to bring any variants in. How though?
That goes without.
Open up the borders and people are bound to come in and you don't even know who has what. So,
Are you gonna test a load of people? Actually, more time you would. I'm pretty sure most countries have been doing that as well. They test a lot of the people that are coming into the country or leaving. They test them at the border, and if they have whatever they've got, they get sent back. That's pretty much what I've heard. I think
what happens?
Yeah.
Okay. What happens, Kings, is if they don't exhibit any symptoms, and if let's say they test, and at that time it's very moderate or it's very insignificant, you can't even notice it. It's very trace. Okay,
Yeah.
you getting the virus, and you can't really detect it on a test. You're still gonna carry the virus in.
Which is true, yeah. Which is true. That obviously, well, then in that instance, you shut all the borders, you don't let no one in, and at that point, it's just God bless you and just wait for something to happen, because
I mean,
I'm not trying to
business-wise,
take
I
that
understand.
risk.
Yeah, I mean, end of the day, business-wise, I understand the approach that the UK is doing. We're under a lot of pressure. There's a lot of pushback from a lot of these big companies. Business people, even the MPs, they want it to open up. They can't stay at home. I understand that. I understand that. Like, even look, did we really need the whole transatlantic window between UK and the US right now? No, we didn't need to, because look, the United States is leading when it comes to the number of infections. So
yes, exactly.
So
And
why? It's because of diplomatic relations. End of the day, it comes down to politics.
Yeah, and then politics is literally what just messes up the whole, the whole state of, literally just the whole state and livelihood of everybody that lives in the country, because it's like
space,
like
the space thing.
Yeah, that in its own is just so stupid. I just don't understand why that's happening. But with all the problems that we've already got, why should we go and incur the rage of people in space? Like, for what? It makes no sense. But nonetheless, I think even I just wanted to quickly just take a U-turn even back to the first topic, which was the speaking of pay. With everything going on and with the amount of money that will be spent on resources trying to fund things like our space escapade or,
Spacecapade.
Yeah, Spacecapade. Perfect.
Spacecapade. There you go.
Perfect. Our Spacecapade or, like funding for all of these vaccines, which is reasonable, or the test, which is also reasonable, to keep people out of the borders. Yeah. I just feel like there was so many things that they could have done, which could have at least led to a better result for right now. Which, for example, would be shut all the borders. Like, nobody needs to come in. With the amount of different variants we've been hearing, India has a different variant. Brazil was the first place to have a new variant. They even heard about how China was carrying a different and completely new case of type of flu. And
a cocktail right there.
A cocktail. And the first thing that the UK does is, there's all of these things going on. Yeah, open up the borders. Yeah, everyone can come in. What? Like, where's the common sense?
That is the problem.
Yeah.
I really don't know what's going on with the UK. Again, I'd like to think that this is something politically charged or something like that. We want to maintain friendlier relationships between these countries. That's why we're opening up the borders. But then again, it's our people who will be suffering. So, what's happening? I mean, you guys. I mean, I got no words.
Like, I honestly feel like this is all money. This is literally all about money. And
it is.
With the privatization of the NHS, with everything that's been going on during COVID, during the pandemic, the opening and closing of lockdowns and shops and everything is literally motivated by money. Everything is literally driven by money. And the one point I even wanted to touch on was with the privatization of the healthcare.
Yeah.
I feel as though there were so many things that they could have done correctly, which could have entailed in, number one, nurses being paid properly, and number two, we wouldn't even have this issue of privatizing anything in the first place. If they had taken care of things properly earlier on, like, for example, Brexit, had that not even followed through, we wouldn't even be in this mess right now, talking of privatization of healthcare and, the decreasing of the population. then on top of that, with the amount of money there is, given the fact that we are currently in this COVID situation because nobody saw this coming, but we are in this current COVID situation, the things that they could have done in order to prevent us, having this issue is, number one, make a choice and stick with it. Stop jumping in between the two. And then, you realize the economy is going down, so you open everything up so people can spend money and then tell everybody, go home now, we don't need you. Like they're manipulating the population into doing their bidding. They want... It's crazy.
So
it's just crazy.
It sounds so dark the way you say that, manipulating the population to do their bidding. It sounds like, I'm gonna, I don't. That's like something in the movie, out of the movies. I'd like to think.
Literally, but that's what it is. Like that's literally what it sounds like, because it's like you're taking what you're squeezing the population dry of all of their coins so that you can feed everything that needs to be fed within the business standpoint. Henceforth, the money fuels the economy, money fuels the whole country, meaning that once you're done with everyone, you tell them to go home, and now you can worry about the things that you need to worry about. So from a business standpoint, all of this privatization stuff, everything that's been going on, yes, it's good for business. We already know money is always good for business. It's always going to be good for business. But at what cost? Like, how far are you going to go until you realize that this money being good for business is going to literally, not even just turn the nation against you, but, run the nation down until there's no one left? Like, what point?
Again, comes back to our questions. If you guys know, well, feel free to hit us up. I mean, if there are any intellectuals out there,
yes.
Hey, you know the numbers. Call us up 07852 473 473. That's right. Those are the magical numbers.
Tap it in. Just on your phone, just tap it in. Just give us a ring. I need someone to answer my question.
I mean, look at Kingz. He's going to lose the hair that he has on his head. Answer his questions. Hit us up. Let us know what you think. But with that being said, it is about that time, though, that we wrap things up.
It is. Ladies and gentlemen, just so you know, please, I love my hair, so help me answer the question. I don't want to lose it.
I mean, you guys tell us what you think. And with that being said, you can catch us again tomorrow. Same time, same place.
Indeed.
Only here on Relaks Radio. My name is Nick.
I'm Kingz. Of course, as you can see from the name tag in the corner. Oh, right there. Right there.
And we are out of here.